guys, we've been running quite a few rounds through these guys. 45 magazine here, still look kind of nasty here. Probably up to about 50 to 60 rounds between a couple days ago and today, but it's clearing these things up. The 45 still has a bit of an issue trying to go into battery. Let me show you. If I hit the catch here, see how it's almost in battery, but not quite? If I nudge it, it'll go. And even after that, I think after the first, maybe second shot, there's a little bit of a hiccup, but eventually the final rounds just start going through it after that. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. As you can see, no, that went into battery. No, it did not. Yeah, it did. It did. That did too. That's not. So you see, it doesn't take much in this thing. It gets to rolling again. Unless this thing is going to prove me wrong, the 10 millimeter, no issues. Goes in the battery itself and rips the shots off. Perfectly happy with the 10. The 45, I feel like will work itself out. But I'm good to move on to the next test. This one's going to be a little bit more real life. What I'm going to simulate here is somebody that's being very irresponsible and not paying attention, probably has too many people around them at the gun range, talking a lot of bull, probably showing off, probably telling people how to shoot, and forgets that his guns are on his bumper or his hood or his tailgate and drives off and they fall into the gravel. At that point, somebody else comes behind him and runs over those. In fact, a couple of somebody else's. The pieces that are more likely to take a beating, of course, would be the sights, but the ambidextrous controls on these Rock Island 1911s. There's a very good chance these guys might take a little bit of a beating, and quite possibly the grip panels. We don't expect it to affect much in terms of the operation of the guns, but again, this is a more real life scenario that we feel like is worth doing. So let's get right to it. Oh, that knocked the knocked the magazine out of the 10. Looks like this is the 45. Looks like everything's good. Everything stayed intact on it. Magazine stayed in this one. The 10, apparently I hit the mag catch because the can't really tell. I mean, I know that I hit it. I had to have, but it ejected the magazine. So I know that other than that, the rest of the gun, other than looking not too good, looks fine. Let's shoot them. Okay, the 45, we know we had some issues before, so let's start out with that one. Just about went into battery right there. Almost. Maybe we cleared it with the driving over it. Not quite into battery. Not quite. Went in that time. That time too. And that time. We're going to try those magazines again. This is the 4 or 5 final rounds, and then 45 seemed to go just fine. All right, our 10, it knocked the magazine out, so let's get it back in there. Seemed to seat fine. Went into battery. Let's see here. Yeah, not much is stopping this 10 right now. This thing is just rocking. I'm going to run a little bit more through this 45. The 10, other than not being all that pretty right now, he's rocking. Let's get a new magazine for this 45 and see how this thing works. Got our fresh new magazine. Just for the sake of comparison, here's our old rusted up 45 magazine, and here's our nice new clean one. So you can see a pretty distinct difference between these two guys. Both sides are pretty rusted on the old one. and the newer one looks pretty good. So let's see. I don't think the going into battery initially is going to be an issue because of how slow that slide goes forward. I still think it's something to do with our Chick-fil-A sauce. It goes in nice and smooth, that's for sure. You can tell that it doesn't have the corrosion. It definitely feels better. But let's see how going into battery. I'm thinking it's going to hiccup again and be sluggish. No, actually it did go in, but that still can't be. I doubt that's a magazine issue. Just thinking real quick in my head, that should not have an effect on it. I don't know. Let's see how it shoots now. I might be proved wrong here. All right, guys, first shot. I've been having a little issues at the first and second shot, so let's see. Yo, I see my sight is moved over a little bit. My front sight is leaning to the left a little bit. I'll show you here in a second. But yeah, I guess running over it bent that sight over a little bit. But nevertheless, oh, the gun did not go back in the battery properly. There we go. It did go in the battery that time, but you notice how nasty that sounded when I pushed it in the battery, that scraping of metal on metal. This thing needs to be oiled so bad. That went in the battery, sure did. That one did. Man, I gotta tell you, that time it went in the battery okay. You know, that first round. I gotta see something here. I'm gonna load me 8 more rounds up in here of my arm score ammunition. By the way, I am using, just so you know what I'm using a 230 grain full metal jacket. Of course, my arm score ammunition. Let's see. Again, we were having issues before. It went in the battery. No, it did not. It did not go in the battery. See the brass right here? So, I mean, it's ever so slightly. So again, I don't think it's a magazine related issue, but let's see. Let's see if the rest of it does fine. If I disassemble this thing, I'm sure I can find the sludge that might be in there. That's probably from our Chick-fil-A sauce. I'm almost can guarantee that's what it is. So what that tells me is, under normal conditions, everything we've done to both of these guns, the 10 would have cleared itself because it cleared itself from the salt and everything that we had. The 45, look, if you're going to do half the things that I'm doing to these guns, after you have one of those abusive type situations, what's the first thing you're going to do? Take it home and clean it and lubricate it. This thing I guarantee would run like a top if it were clean and lubricated right now. But we're not going to do that. We're going to move on to the next thing.